Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, the state of Connecticut wants movie theaters to stop lying to you.
Also, hey Warriors! Jimmy Butler is here to play.
All that and more on the way next. Super Bowl week, of course, but not to be overshadowed. Today also trade deadline day in the NBA, which has become a pretty big deal.
Yeah, lots of stuff has been happening right before the trade deadline. Moves
are being made. Some of the most noteworthy involve Jimmy Butler being traded from the Heat to the Warriors. We also saw that Kyle Kuzma got traded from the Wizards to the Bucks. I think that's a pretty big deal. Here's what I want to know from you, Allie, because you seem to follow the NBA much more than I do. The assumption in the NBA is it would be somewhat of a surprise if the finals leading up to the trade deadline wasn't going to be Thunder and Celtics. Have any of these trades changed that drastically?
I would say the odds that the Lakers make a big run have certainly increased. But I want to see what it looks like with LeBron and Luka, and now Mark Williams, who they just traded for late last night, technically early this morning.
I know they needed a center.
Yeah, that's Mark Williams as a center from the Hornets.
But they also sacrificed Dalton Connect.
Yes. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like when all those players come together and play for the first time. Is it going to click? We don't know. I mean, when you add a player like Luka to your team who's averaging 28 points per game, that seems like it's going to make a big difference. But also it's like, you have another player in LeBron who's also ball dominant. Does that change him? So we'll see. But I would say I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen with them, and certainly interested to see what's going to happen with Golden State adding Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has been an enigma this season. Yeah. It's been very strange with what's been going on with the Heat.
I think he's been suspended 3 times by his own team.
Clearly he did not want to be in Miami anymore. Yeah. And he was making that obvious, making that known to everyone, not just the Heat. And so I was expecting a trade to come there. We were just not sure if it was going to happen because, if you're showing that you're such a hard person.
Diva.
Yeah, a diva. We'll say that. It can be a struggle to get a team to agree to add you. But apparently Golden State wanted to take the chance. We'll see how Steve Kerr puts it all together with Jimmy Butler added to the squad.
Yeah, you think about teams that might have a culture that could incorporate Jimmy Butler. Well, the Heat might have been one, and that worked for a while, but the Warriors would certainly be another.
Right.
So that it could very well work, but they had to give up Andrew Wiggins for that. I do think the Bucks, because I think the path in the East, they can navigate that, and I don't know, they're trying to figure it out with Giannis and Dame, and I never want to give up on those guys. Yep. And then you add Kyle Kuzma, who at least plays, where Chris Middleton seems to get injured a lot and whatever, especially in the playoffs. So I'm interested to see what the Bucks will look like.
Yeah.
And I would like to see them make a run.
Yeah, it adds a wrinkle for sure. And that's what the trade deadline is supposed to do. It's supposed to, change things up and make it seem like, it's more competitive than what you previously thought. So, it gives an advantage to some teams that are willing to spend some money and willing to give some things up. And those teams certainly were, and we'll see if it changes any of their outcomes.
Now, there's still a few hours left, too, before the official deadline. So there still could be deals coming down later this morning and into the afternoon. So we'll see what happens. But interesting, though, that at least as of this moment, the two teams that had been mentioned, the Thunder and Celtics, as the prohibitive favorites to make it to the final, haven't really done much of anything of note.
They don't want to get rid of any other players.
What does that tell you? Now, this story, if you haven't been following along, is crazy. The story of Onijah Robinson. She is an American woman who has since become stranded, it seems, in Pakistan. Now, how did she get stranded in Pakistan? Well, she claims that she married a man virtually, that there's a man in Pakistan that she got married to. Some say over a video call or whatever, that she had a relationship, married him, then went to Pakistan And when he and his family saw her, they rejected her and said, no, we're not going through with this. And she's now staying in Pakistan. And not only that, but she is demanding, and this is how she's gotten into the news in Pakistan and now in the United States too. She's demanding that the Pakistani government give her money and housing and whatever. I guess because she says she's legally married, which I guess maybe makes her. I don't know how it works. Couldn't that just as easily make the guy an American citizen? I don't know. I guess if they were married in Pakistan, even if she was in the United States at the time. I don't know how it works. I don't even know if her argument is valid whatsoever.
Right.
But it is, she's clearly a character. Her claims to be son says that she is bipolar, which would contribute to this. And so he's going to Pakistan to try to retrieve her and bring her back to the United States where she belongs.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is absolutely insane. I can't believe this. But basically what the family is claiming, because like you said, this has become a huge news story in Pakistan and on TikTok and all over now. But basically the family says that she catfished their 19-year-old son.
Okay.
She is in her 30s.
Yeah.
So she used what they claim to be a filter whenever they did phone calls over FaceTime, whatever. And it made her look different than what she actually looks like.
Yeah.
So when she did show up to their house, they rejected her and refused to even let her in their home. Apparently, she camped out at their house for days. And then, it's just been an unraveling mess in Pakistan because of this. And the local media is eating it up. She had, a press conference with a local humanitarian.
Oh, my gosh.
And was, sharing about how she wants to improve the conditions for the homeless in Pakistan. And, she wants the government to give her $100,000 so she can be the person to do this.
Oh my gosh.
It's insane.
Yeah. It's insane to say the least. You can understand, obviously, if the claims are true that mental health is an issue in this situation, that makes it all the more sad and more complicated and explains a lot.
Right.
Even if not, imagine, and even if it's true that she was catfishing this guy and was fake the entire time, imagine getting married to somebody, flying to their country, thinking you're going to live with them, and you show up at their door and they're like, actually, no. You can understand why even if you were completely mentally healthy, that could be a breaking point for you.
Right.
Where you're like, but wait a minute.
We just got married.
We made an agreement here. So I guess whatever the explanation, it's understandable why she seems to have flown off the handle, but obviously the preferred outcome is she returns back to the United States and gets some help that she clearly needs.
Yes, hopefully her son is able to do that. Apparently he is appealing to the government to help get plane tickets or whatever. So hopefully this figures itself out.
I wonder what the government of Pakistan thinks. Are they like, let's get rid of this lady ASAP? Or are they like, well, it's fun to have something interesting happening. So
it's almost like a court jester.
Distract from the other problems that we may have here. I don't know what's going on in Pakistan, but this at least we'll do this other stuff while everybody's paying attention to her.
Offers some entertainment, some sad entertainment, as you said. So hopefully it gets itself sorted out and she ends up in a better place, both mentally and physically.
I will say, as long as it continues on, though, I'm here for the drama. I'm here to watch it all play out. However it goes. Allie, there's so much AI news right now. I've got a handful of headlines. I want to know which one you want to key in on here first. So we have California. They have something they want AI chatbots to do. We have a new capability of Adobe Acrobat when it comes to legal documents and AI. And then we have DeepSeek, which is China's new basically ChatGPT replacement that has been in the app stores and people have been downloading like crazy. Which one do you want to focus on first?
I think the biggest story definitely has to be the DeepSeek one.
So DeepSeek is, I mean, right? It's basically ChatGPT. You can now, but it's made in China.
Yeah.
When it rolled out a week or two ago, it was like, oh, this is like, I mean, this is what they claim. This is ChatGPT, but it's even better. It's faster and smarter, whatever. And now, though, of course, keep in mind, this was developed in China by like the Chinese. Basically, it has all the same issues that they claim TikTok has.
Yeah.
Except it's AI, which also can add in even more, I feel. And it just got an F in a safety rating from researchers at Cisco.
Yeah, I read into why it got an F, and it's absolutely insane. So basically, how they do this safety rating is they have these certain prompt questions that they'll throw at these, AI chat, or what they call the large language learning model or whatever. And so they have these questions, and these questions are leading questions, and they could lead to potential dangerous areas.
Okay.
And most of the normal, like ChatGPT and Gemini and some of the other chat, things that we're used to, AI chats that we're used to, they will deflect these questions. They will say, I can't answer them or whatever because they're, potentially violent or whatever.
Sure.
DeepSeek answered all of them.
Which we laugh, but that's also very dangerous.
It took the bait very heavily, and so that's why it got the F.
Yeah, not good. I mean, so DeepSeek shot to the top of the app stores, to which I say to anybody downloading it, why ChatGPT, if you're going to download any AI, whatever, why not use ChatGPT? At least it's American. And was it so bad? Were we having huge issues with ChatGPT that DeepSeek have solved? I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Or you could just, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but there's some times where we could just not use AI also.
That's true.
Now, the AI headlines are a mixed bag too, because California, I don't know, this is kind of neutral. They think that AI chatbots should have to remind users that they aren't people, which I feel like that makes sense.
Yep, I think that's a great idea.
We've seen too many situations where people are getting into relationships, they're having, the AI is my girlfriend. And we can I feel like we can avoid that.
Right.
And even if people are like, well, I want to test this thing out, I want to have an AI relationship. Well, it should still remind you over and over again that, keep in mind, you're in love with me, but I'm not a real person.
I'm not real.
Yeah. Are you still in love? And then finally, I think this is good. Adobe Acrobat is using the power of AI to be able to simplify complex legal documents.
Yes.
Which is helpful because, even you think about the terms and services agreements that we all just click yes on.
Yep.
And how long those are. And imagine you tried to read a single paragraph of that, long and complicated, and then you get into them and they're like, should we not agree to continue to not eating babies? And you're like, what does that mean? Am I eating babies? Am I not eating babies? What am I signing up for? And so I would like the idea that AI could simplify that for me.
Yeah, I think that's great. That is what, in my opinion, AI is supposed to be used for. It's supposed to make things more efficient, simplify things, and just save us time.
But could the irony be that you go through an agreement, you look at the Acrobat simplified version, and you're like, looks good to me, and you sign it, and then later you realize that it didn't simplify it.
It
some
missed
loophole.
something.
Yep, and then all of a sudden Adobe gets sued.
That could happen.
That is a risk they run. Right now, though, I do want to open up the RadioU hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
We have the Super Bowl coming up in just a few days. The halftime show, of course. Many people look forward to that more than the game, if they're not as much football fans, perhaps. And this year's show is Kendrick Lamar. We know it's Kendrick Lamar as the headliner.
Yep.
SZA should be there. Maybe some other guests.
Maybe.
Some surprise guests. Maybe Lecrae.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. I don't know if that'll happen or not. Last year, Rihanna did it.
Yes.
She didn't have any guests.
No.
She had all those dancers.
She definitely had a lot of dancers.
But while pregnant, I believe, a completely solo, as far as singing goes, halftime show. We'll see what happens. But here's the question. Here's why we opened up the RadioU hotline. What's your dream halftime show for the Super Bowl?
Oh.
You pick anyone you want.
I love this question so much. Should I answer now?
You can lead it off, sure.
Okay. For me, my dream, this it doesn't age me because I wasn't alive when this band was, popular or whatever. They're still popular, but it does show the style of music I listen to a lot. I would love for an Eagles halftime show. And I would love for it to be in California, and they started off with Hotel California.
We went through a phase for the Super Bowl halftime shows where it was a bunch of classic rock artists, a bunch of dad rock going through.
Yeah.
And I feel like people didn't enjoy that very much.
I mean, who wouldn't love Bon Jovi, though? Bon Jovi did a great job.
I didn't even remember that he did it.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I was just thinking like Tom Petty and Aerosmith, they kept bringing back.
Why
and it was
would
just like
those
the
are
Who.
great bands.
Yeah, but they're not exactly in their prime though. And so they're to me, that's the kind of artist maybe in their prime that'd be really cool to see. And there's some of the artists that I want to see before I die type thing. But the Super Bowl halftime show, it should be people in the height of their careers that can bring the energy. And definitely at this point, I don't know if the Eagles, what's left of them, would bring the energy to a Super Bowl halftime show.
And that's fair. Maybe what I'm thinking of is like if we could have the Eagles in their prime.
Sure.
Because this is a dream scenario.
Yeah, sure. Okay, dream scenario.
So, Glenn's still with us. Glenn Fry's still with us. Unfortunately, he did pass. But in my dream scenario, it's them in their prime, Don Henley in prime, Glenn Fry in prime. It's just all the guys together performing, and they started off with Hotel California. I mean, can't you just hear those guitars? And it's just like, it'd be perfect.
All right. We have some people getting in already at 8772 Radio U. What is your dream Super Bowl halftime show? Allie's is the Eagles. What is yours? 8772 Radio U. We're asking the question, what is your dream Super Bowl halftime show? Many people chiming in with their thoughts. Allie already said the Eagles, not the football team, the band that sings the song Hotel California. We heard from Nate. Nate is speaking my language. Nate says Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. Who would not enjoy that?
Exactly. I think that would appeal to everyone.
I don't think, and you know what? You sometimes worry about the Super Bowl. I know with Kendrick Lamar that there's worry that the show will not be family friendly. Obviously, there's the possibility words will need to be bleeped, and who knows what else will happen. Weird Al is going to be family friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Safe for everyone. Scott says Morgan Wallen with Post Malone and other guest appearances.
Who's the other guest? Like Jelly Roll or something?
Hey, Jelly Roll. That's a good pull. Chris says my dream halftime show is Rush with the Blue Man Group. Rush would be tough to pull off.
Yeah.
Their drummer, who really makes the band, although they three great members, but Neil Peart passed away several years ago.
Yeah.
So it would not be the same. He even goes into which eras of these outfits he would like to bring in. I've been disappointed so far. Not enough people saying Radio U artists.
Ugh.
And there's plenty that would be good halftime shows. But then here comes Josh, who says satellite era POD with special guest Blindside.
Ooh.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. For a Radio U artist, I feel like I would really love to see Devil Wears Prada because I've heard that they put on an absolutely immaculate show.
Yeah, I've seen them numerous times. That would be fun. Although, so here's my thing.
Okay.
I want to answer this within the constraints of what I think would actually make a good Super Bowl halftime show, not the concert I want to see the most.
Yeah.
The Devil Wears Prada, I don't know if they'd make a great Super Bowl halftime show. They would be scaring a lot of people, Like there'd just be a lot of audience that did not know what they were signing up for when the Devil Wears Prada. They'd think it's like, oh, the movie? Meryl Streep gonna be here? Nice. So that I don't know. Which is why the obvious answer is 21 Pilots. As far as Radio U artists go.
Yes.
They would bring the energy. They're in their prime. People know who they are. So that would be maybe if the Super Bowl ever comes to like Cincinnati or something, it'd be a good hometown kind of home state kind of choice.
Yep.
Some might say, because you just think of the most popular, most well-known Radio U artist, Ed F.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want Ed F. to be the halftime show.
You wouldn't?
I would not.
Okay.
Because
Why?
I want the Super Bowl halftime show to make me like happy.
Okay.
My favorite song from NF is Happy, and that doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I don't want it to be a downer. Yeah, and I love NF is great, but I just don't want the Super Bowl halftime show to be a downer.
Hey, Tiffany's with me. She says she was just going to go with Devil Wears Prada as well, and with Demon Hunter. I was actually contemplating Demon Hunter as a second choice because their songs are epic, too.
We're just setting up some metal festivals that are going to take place in the middle of the Super Bowl. Which sounds, listen, it sounds great. I just think you have to keep in mind the audience.
Yes, I think 21 Pilots definitely appeals to everybody if we had to pick a RadioU artist.
Yeah, probably with like special guests too, like Maddie Mullins. Somehow, if there was a RadioU Super Bowl halftime show, Maddie Mullins is there.
Yeah.
He is there, whether it's with Amberlynn or Memphis Mayfire or somebody else somehow, he would be there.
Yes, he'd work his way in.
I'm trying to think of who. You know my pick.
Do I?
Yeah, you know who I want.
Oh.
Based off of the constraints of the question, who would satisfy the world, pump you up, make you happy, be fun?
Do I know who you would pick?
You know.
Who?
It's Tay, baby. T Swift.
Oh, Taylor
Swift would make so many people. This is what
top listened to artists last year.
This is what I and the world and the NFL, I think, pine for. And she keeps turning us down.
I think I'm good.
You've heard of FOMO, probably the fear of missing out. That's old news. If you're just finding out about that, you've missed out. But I know the new replacement. It is a term that has been coined by Patrick McGinnis, is claiming responsibility for this. He's an author and a venture capitalist. And he says the replacement for FOMO is FOBO.
Okay.
Which, have you ever experienced this? Fear of a better option. I feel like similar to what has been called choice paralysis, where like you have so many choices, but you always feel like the thing you pick is not going to actually be the best. You feel like you finally settle on something and then you're worried that something else better is out there.
Right.
Where can we see this? I feel like dating apps. Hello. You're swiping through Tinder or Bumble or whatever. And it's like, well, this person's pretty hot and whatever, nice. But what if there's somebody hotter and nicer that I could match with?
Yeah.
Feels like one of the prime examples of where you would find fear of a better option. Allie, has this ever happened to you?
For sure. I think it happens to all of us because as it's put in this article, it is people ruminating on the what if. Mm-hmm. And we always do that. Whether it be called, the grass is always greener or, just, you're worrying about tomorrow, whatever it may be. We're always concerned about the what if. And so I think that fear or anxiety inducing idea and concept of fear of a better option is actually true, and it has been for a long time. Yeah. But certainly with the inventions of our 21st century, it has increased.
Oh yeah.
Because our world has opened us up to so much more than what we previously were able to access.
Yeah, I think about this. Or here's a great example of FOBO is with streaming now, like with TV and movies.
Yeah.
Like if you talk to probably your grandparents at this point, they're like, when I was a kid, there was 3 channels and all we could watch was Bonanza, and so that had to be good enough. Either you watch that or you just watch nothing.
Right.
Now you hop on Netflix or Apple TV or whatever, and you're like, well, do I want to watch that? No, let me scroll through some more. No, do I want to watch that? I don't know if I want to sign up for that whole thing. And so then you wind up never watching anything,
right?
Because you're thinking, this is not the best use of my time, but then you've used your time not being able to decide.
Right.
That's me with that and online shopping and like just all of the endless choice also leads to the fear of a better option. But Allie, I have the cure.
Okay.
The cure is a relationship with God. It may not, okay, fine. It's true because I still deal with it. It may not actually be a cure where you just stop scrolling through Netflix and Hulu trying to find something to watch, but it is, a relationship with God will help you settle on being satisfied with what you have. So when it comes to your relationships, your career, your like other things in life that are bigger things, it will help you be grateful for what you have, and have that be enough, have that be satisfying to you.
Yeah.
Even if it's not perfect, that you don't have to worry all the time about the better option when you know that you're already taken care of and that God will have great things coming for you, and that he has, and when you realize all the great things that you have today at this time too.
Yeah. One of my favorite songs that talks about this is from House of Heroes. It's literally called Satisfied.
Yeah.
And I love the chorus of it because it says, I've come to terms with the man that I made up and the one I really am. I've taken turns on the days when I gave up and the ones I took a stand. And I can be satisfied with you in my saddest times, or I can't be satisfied at all. And I think it's so important for us to realize that, this world tries to kind of insert that FOBO into us, and that fear and that anxiety that we'll never be good enough, and that there's always better options and there's always something that we should be chasing after. But it's true. Our satisfaction really does lie in that relationship with God, and that's the only place you'll find it.
So listen, you can start finding out more about leaving FOBO behind by talking to God. Say, hey, Jesus, wherever you are right now, you can say, hey, God, I'm ready to find out a new perspective on life from you, and start talking to him and go from there. You can also go to RadioU.com/free gift. On the menu today, we have the new loaded hot dog Pringles. Look at this. If you're not listening on the radio, it says exclusive flavor. It's exclusive to Costco. Who was it at Costco that got us these?
That was my cousin Kathy.
Yeah, she knows us so well. She knows us so well. So from the looks of it, it is supposed to be a Pringle that tastes like a hot dog with ketchup and mustard on it. Is that what they call loaded?
I guess.
I would think like loaded sounds like there's a lot of toppings, not the two most common hot dog condiments.
Right.
But I'm not going to complain, and I do really want to try these.
Yeah, go ahead. You are the hot dog man. Go ahead and eat them. Try them out.
You can't buy me hot dog, ma'am. First of all, the smell test, strong whiffs of ketchup.
Okay.
The taste test, it's kind of like it's just got a tang. It's like a tangy Pringle.
Yeah.
I don't know from first bite if it's like fully a hot dog if it feels like a hot dog to me.
It definitely has a hot dog taste. Like almost like a hot dog that's been grilled.
Well, that's how they do it at Costco, right?
I don't know. I don't have a Costco membership.
I've never had a Costco hot dog that I know of, as much as people rave about them.
I think these are actually pretty good.
I mean, they taste good. I do not know if you didn't tell me, and this is so the case for so many items we try here on the show. If I was blindfolded and I didn't know we were trying the loaded hot dog Pringles and I just ate this, I don't know what flavor I would guess.
I think
I would be surprised if it was hot dog.
I think I would guess it's some version of barbecue because it has that grill flavor. So I think that's probably what I would guess if I didn't know it was loaded hot dog.
It feels like, it's not that it tastes mustardy, but the Pringles I eat most often are honey mustard Pringles.
Okay.
And it doesn't taste all that different from those. Those are very sweet.
Okay.
And this is a surprisingly, isn't it sweet for a chip?
I mean, I don't feel like it's sweet, but it definitely does have a pretty decent flavor to it. So I can see why you're comparing it to that. But also, I don't know if I'm a full good judge of it right now because I am sick and I feel like my taste buds are so messed up right now.
I don't know. Listen, these are good. They're a good Pringle.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I really walk away feeling like I've had the hot dog Pringle experience.
Yeah.
I guess unfortunately, but I mean, I would still get these.
I'm still eating them, yeah.
Yeah, I will be definitely tempted by these when they sit in the break room and whatever. So overall, they get a thumbs up, but they don't get a stamp of approval. What is the right word? Because I just don't think they nailed the hot dog flavor.
Yeah, it's like it's close, but it's not quite on the mark as far as the flavor goes.
Yeah, but
but it's still very good.
Most people that aren't sitting here trying to analyze flavors on the show would just get this tin of Pringles, this tube, and would just eat it and be happy, even if they weren't overthinking it and being like, is this a hot dog though?
I can tell you one thing. I can definitely hawk it down like a hot dog.
All right, so here's how this works. Allie and I have a given topic. Today, the topic, chips. Each of us gets to choose the worst thing in that category. So the worst chip.
Yeah.
We also get to choose the first thing, our favorite, the best. And then you have to decide which of us more accurately represents your views, and also send in your actual views, your first and worst, at 8772 Radio U. Allie, I'll let you do the honors. What is your first when it comes to chips?
All right. My first is, and I'm going to go with brands here. I don't know if that's what you were going for.
I can do that.
Okay. I'm going with brands because I felt like it would be too hard to narrow it down to a specific flavor because everybody likes different flavors and that's subjective. So I'm going to go with brands. So for me, the best is Lay's. If you're looking for that traditional potato chip, I feel like Lay's has they've got the flavors, they've got the taste, they've got the perfect amount of crunch, and they just have a little bit of everything for everyone. The worst as far as chip brand goes, where it's like you want your chip and you want to have a fun snack to eat and you buy it and then you're just disappointed. You're like, why did I spend my money on this?
Yeah.
And I think I'm pronouncing this right, but it's the Utz chips or the Utz chip.
What?
Yes.
First of all, why would anyone pronounce it Utz?
Utz, Utz, I don't know.
It's Utz.
Okay, whatever.
And
But
second of all, Utz are amazing.
well, Utz I feel like every time you end up eating the original flavor, you're disappointed.
I reject what you just said, and I think the audience will as well. If we're narrowing it down to brands, okay, I'll go with my worst first because I was going to go with specific flavors, but I can adjust on the fly.
Okay.
My worst is Takis. Takis, the rolled tortilla chips.
Okay.
I was specifically going to say the Blue Heat Takis. I do not enjoy those at all. So Takis are out. Takis are that's my worst.
I feel like that's a pretty hot take, Hudson.
And the best chip, if you are claiming Lay's, the best brand of chip, I feel like that really never lets you down. Actually, in the same similar vein of Takis, I will go with Doritos.
Okay.
Which is not this is not at all, but I was going to choose all dressed chips for my favorite flavor. I have to be true to myself, Canadian.
Yeah.
Those are amazing, and it's crazy how here in the United States they keep taking them, giving them, and taking them, but now supposedly they're back.
They are back.
As Lay's permanently. But as far as brands go, Doritos is the national brand that always hits home. Nobody doesn't like Doritos. Even the worst flavor of Doritos is still good. Cool Ranch, some would say. I like Cool Ranch, but some would say those are the worst. I think even if you don't like Cool Ranch, they're still good chips.
Okay.
So, 8772 Radio U, let us know your first and worst when it comes to chips. And more importantly, let us know, am I more right with my first and worst choices for chips, or is Allie more right? You chose Utz for your worst, Lay's for your best. I have Takis for my worst, Doritos for my best. Allie, why don't you go ahead and read some of the comments that are coming through at 8772 Radio U.
Yes, I'll start with Wendy, who just said Hudson.
Aha!
Regina says she hasn't really had the ones that are the worst, but her husband likes Takis, so I guess that's a disagree with you. But she does say, she says she'll go with Hudson because it's true Doritos doesn't let you down.
Yes, thank you, Regina.
A little bit of a contradiction there, I suppose. Takis, her husband likes, but Doritos, she loves. So, sorry, husband. Ryan says Doritos is number one all day. You actually changed my mind because I was going to say veggie straws were the worst. Interesting. I actually do like veggie straws.
I just wouldn't have considered veggie straws for this
as a chip
question.
As much, yeah.
If I can't choose Cheetos, I also can't choose veggie straws.
Yes. Andrea says Hudson actually wins the vote on that one, and she sent a meme that says, "Did you say youth?"
You'll never forget this day, Allie.
Which is why I said Utes, because I think the first way I said it was Oots.
Yeah, Oots.
But I said Utes, and that was for you, Andrea. I hope you feel special. And, all right, we heard from Casey, and I don't think she actually voted, but she did say for her best chips, she went with Cons, which I know as for local, Radio U Ohio people, Cons is a big deal.
Do you agree with this, that oftentimes the local chip manufacturer, whoever it is for the area, is better than Lay's?
So here's the thing. I really did like Cons a lot and sometimes more than Lay's, but I feel like Cons changed something in their recipe not too long ago that made it a little bit too much, especially for some of the flavors, and so I don't like them as much as I used to. So that's why I said I feel like Lay's is just a very dependable chip. I never feel like, why am I eating this? You know, like I'm just like, this is good, and it's consistent.
Yeah.
I like the consistency to it. So to me, that's what makes it the best.
Did you say Casey's worst was Grippo's? Because also Deb agrees. Grippo's is the one that people are saying is the worst.
I didn't mention that part. She said the worst are Grippo's?
Yeah, I think Grippo's are bad. Deb also says, my husband told me to never buy another brand of sour cream and onion chips except Utz. I grew up eating them, but just had them for the first time. James says Doritos is his first.
Okay.
And the worst is anything plain. And also, Allie, Utz is the underrated goat.
All right.
You shouldn't have come against Utz, Allie. You shouldn't have done it.
Apparently.
You shouldn't have done it. Susanna, though, is on your side. She says she's right. Well, she says you're right on the best.
Partially on my side.
Terribly wrong on the worst. You cannot come on this show and insult Utz ever again.
Apparently,
Don't do it.
Well, here's the thing. This is the beauty of first to worst.
Yeah.
Is it's subjective.
It is subjective.
Everybody has their own opinions on what is truly the first or worst. And I did say off the mic, I feel like the absolute worst chip that I've ever tasted was like an offshoot of Pringles, which was like an offshoot of Stacks, which is an offshoot of Pringles. And that tasted like cardboard. But I was like, no one's going to know what that is.
Yeah.
So
you don't even know the brand name, do you?
I can't remember.
Yeah, that would have been, you would have lost that too, just because people wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So this is what you will learn in first to worst, I believe, is that I know what the people like.
Oh,
I know.
Do you?
I do, yes.
Do you?
And they like Doritos.
Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.